Today we're going to discuss why GTA 4 was superior to GTA 5 in almost every way and why this matters a lot going into GTA 6. Let's begin with the story. Till this day, GTA 4 has one of the most compelling storylines, not just in the Grand Theft Auto series, but in gaming as a whole. Everything from the characters to the setting and the writing is extremely deep and polished, capturing not just the events of the game, but the time and atmosphere of the gritty world and the dark nature of the criminal underworld. It felt raw, real, and it didn't hold back anything like you see in most modern games today. And if we want to talk about the story, we have to start with the main protagonist, Niko Bellic. I can make a whole video on him alone and why I think he's one of the best Rockstar characters ever written, but that's not what this video is about. Instead, I want to talk about what made him great and how his own character arc helps drive the overall narrative, making GTA 4 one of the most memorable story experiences in the series. Niko was a flawed man who did many things he regrets. He is a man who carries great pain with him, and that's something that you feel almost the moment you first step into his shoes. This is something most games didn't really do at the time, especially in an open world crime game. This added layers of complexity to his characters that players like myself were strongly intrigued by. It didn't feel like you were just playing a game and shooting people, but instead it felt like watching a man who has nothing to lose continue to make hard choices that he ultimately regrets deep down inside. He knew that he was a killer and that he was good at it, but at the same time, know that what he was doing was wrong, but felt he has no other choice but to continue what he knows doing to survive. This added a ton of weight to the overall narrative and almost immediately had players intrigued and curious where the journey would take such a troubled protagonist. Next, we have the setting, and let me just say I might be a bit biased on this because I actually grew up in New York, so seeing a game that so perfectly captures the essence of a place you grew up in was pretty surreal to me, especially as a kid. But it wasn't just that. Rockstar was able to capture the dread and wonder so perfectly that it almost felt like the setting and the character were truly made for each other. It almost felt like the city was an external representation of what Niko was feeling internally, creating a certain synergy that simply doesn't exist in other games. The world itself has depth and life that we've never seen at that time of release. Rockstar always makes games ahead of their time, but I never would have thought that playing it in the year 2025 would make me realize just how unique and special the map was, since there's only a handful of games I can think of that rival that kind of feeling after all this time. The overall tone and narrative of the game also had something special about it. Even though Rockstar was known for its satirical commentary and goofy depiction of American life, GTA 4 still had a profoundly serious and impactful feel. The world felt dangerous and the consequences of your actions felt like they had a real impact on Niko and the other characters in the story, even though you didn't have as much choice as you do in the more recent Rockstar titles. This is where I'll begin drawing the differences between 4 and 5, because this is one of the core aspects that felt changed between the two games. While GTA 4 brought a more impactful and serious story, GTA 5 completely leaned into the satire, and the main narrative greatly suffered for it, in my opinion. It was bad enough we now had 3 different characters the game wanted us to care about, but the game world itself felt like it takes itself way less seriously. It was a huge problem, not just for me, but for fans of the series, because while most people thought that GTA 5 would follow the same path of deep narrative storytelling, it unfortunately felt like a big step backwards. Let's also touch upon the 3 main protagonists while we're on the subject. While Niko was an extremely well-written character, a big part of why players cared for him so deeply was because the game focused on just him. Meanwhile, in GTA 5, we had Michael, Trevor, and Franklin. The biggest issue with this is that the game never gives you enough time with either character to truly develop a bond with. I mean, sure, you're able to play with each one for as long as you want, but you never really go fully in depth and learn about each character's traumas or history to get a good sense of what each character was dealing with. With that being said, I also feel like all three of them were nowhere near well written as, let's say, Niko, Johnny, and Luis from GTA 4. You see, it wasn't just Niko that was a great character, but the protagonists from all the GTA 4 DLCs were also all amazing in my opinion. So in a crazy way, GTA 4 also had three protagonists, but the biggest difference though was the writing. Because somehow, even though we had less time with Johnny and Luis, they still felt more impactful than Michael, Trevor, and Franklin. So I think it ultimately came down to the narrative and the tone of the game that made GTA 5's heroes feel less memorable, at least for me. Okay, now let's talk about arguably the biggest difference, which was the gameplay. In GTA 4, the driving was very realistic, maybe even too much so, but for me and many others, it was great. The whole game is about shooting and driving, so if the driving feels solid, good chances the game will be as well. I think that's why we hear so many people asking for GTA 6 to have the GTA 4's driving instead of 5. Not to mention the damage and destruction on the cars were leagues more in depth than GTA 5, making a game made in 2009 feel more realistic than one made in 2013. Also, isn't it crazy we used to get new GTA games 4 years apart? Kind of wild to think about that if I'm being honest. Oh, and story DLC. Yeah, I miss those days. Anyway, it wasn't just the driving that felt more weighty and realistic, but also the shooting. The shooting in GTA 4 actually felt like you were shooting a real gun, and not a plastic BB gun like in 5. It's no surprise why many fans were seriously let down by the driving and shooting in GTA 5 after coming from GTA 4. Now, all of this leads me to GTA 6. I think in order for that game to truly succeed, it has to follow more in the footsteps of GTA 4 and not 5. The good news is, I think Rockstar has the recipe to make that happen, and I'll explain why. The fact that Jason and Lucia are a couple shows us that the main narrative will most likely revolve around their relationship, and that potentially sets up the story to have a more serious tone with real gravity. Also, having two characters instead of three is also a good move, since most of the time will be spent with both Jason and Lucia, given that they live and do most things together. I'm also looking forward to seeing the way their relationship unfolds and what kind of drama we'll see happen because of it. The world of Leonida also looks perfect for this, since Florida already has a ton of satire built right into it. I feel that Rockstar won't have to do too much to exaggerate it, and instead can focus more on the narrative beats and the characters, while the world will serve as a perfect backdrop to all the drama that will unfold. If Rockstar takes its time to fully establish both of these characters, I think there's real potential for us to end up caring a lot about them, or at least one of them. I'm also hoping that Rockstar learns a lot from Red Dead Redemption 2 and how many fans fell in love with the serious tones and the storytelling of that game. As far as gameplay is concerned, I have a really good feeling that the guns will feel great. That was one of my personal complaints in GTA 5. In fact, it's a big reason why I use the LMG, because, it's the only gun that actually sounds and feels like a real weapon in that entire game. So here's hoping that all the guns will sound and feel solid. The driving is still up in the air because it's still too hard to tell which direction Rockstar will go in regarding that. A lot of leaks point to it being a mix of 4 and 5's driving, which I can kind of get behind. So all in all, I think if Rockstar learns and takes more from GTA 4 when it comes to narrative, characters, and driving, and the shooting, I think GTA 6 could be something longtime fans will love and show new fans up to the series the best aspects of past GTA games. But now I want to hear from you guys. Did you also prefer GTA 4 to GTA 5? And what would you like to see in GTA 6 when it finally comes out? Let me know down below. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider sticking around and subscribing. With that being said, I thank you all for coming and watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.